Hey everyone, this is Hannah with the Rocket Miner giving you today's news update. One of the biggest pieces of news that we're still dealing with is the storm that we had earlier this week on Monday night and Tuesday morning, just the damage that it did and the effects it's had as people are trying to clean up and to recover from that. Especially there was problems with it causing power outages. Thankfully that's almost completely resolved now and almost everyone has their power back. According to Rocky Mountain Power's website today, there are still about 17 customers in Green River who don't have power, but considering there were 1,200 yesterday without power, that's great that they've been able to get power back to almost everyone, and I'm sure they're working on restoring power for those last few people. One of the biggest issues that we're still dealing with from this storm is just the damage it caused to trees, knocking down branches, knocking over entire trees in some cases. Obviously we've seen that damage throughout Sweetwater County, but it seems to have hit Green River particularly hard, and they've been doing a lot of work to try to deal with that damage and to clean up from that. So the city has been trying to assess the damages both to public and private property and figure out what that cost is. They think the cost from the damages is going to be in the millions, but they're working on getting a specific number and getting plans for responding to that. They think that the total cleanup for this event could take up to 6 months to be complete and finished. As I said, they are working on making plans and they've already been doing a lot of work in getting things cleaned up. There are a few specific places in Green River that were hit really hard. Evers Park, the pavilion there, sustained a lot of roof damage, and so it's closed for now. And also Riverview Cemetery had a lot of trees knocked down. Today we got an update that said there were 35 trees total that were knocked down in the cemetery, and most of those, 25 of those, were very tall pine trees that caused a lot of damage and just are huge and in the way, so they need to be cleaned up and taken care of. So the cemetery is closed for now. The city has been encouraging residents to take their branches and trees that were knocked down by the windstorm and to dump those at the rodeo grounds. They are reminding people today that they need to abide by the guidelines for that area. This dump site that they've provided is only for trees and limbs and stumps. They can't mulch the material if there are bags with leaves and grass. So they just want people to keep it to the tree limbs and don't dump any other trash there or bag up like grass and leaves. Don't leave that at the rodeo grounds. As people work on cleaning up the damage from the storm, Sweetwater County Sheriff John Grossnickel has announced his decision to make work crews from the Sweetwater County Detention Center's Inmate Community Service Program available to assist anyone who's in need of help with their storm cleanup. The sheriff pointed out just how bad this storm was, and he said, "We want to help those in need however we can to bounce back from this natural disaster." So this Inmate Community Service Program employs screened misdemeanor level volunteer inmates in cleanup. They do snow removal and other community service projects throughout the year, and so specifically they're offering them now to help with cleanup from the storm. All of the work crews carry out their tasks under the direct supervision of sworn detention officers. So the sheriff urged anyone who's in need of help, especially elderly residents or people with health and medical conditions who can't do the cleanup themselves. If you need help with that, you can contact Sweetwater County Detention and get more information from them about that. Today, looking at some COVID-19 related news. Thankfully, the numbers are looking a little bit better today. The Wyoming Department of Health reported there were 48 new confirmed and probable cases of COVID-19. today in our state, but there were 69 recoveries. So today the recoveries outpaced the new cases, which is great. And so this brought us to 604 active cases in the state today, which is down by 11 from where we were at yesterday. So that number's been slowly going back down, kind of bouncing around a little bit, but we want to see it keep going down. Locally with COVID-19, today we did learn that Memorial Hospital of Sweetwater County had one employee test positive for COVID-19 this week. Public Health is in the process of contacting every patient that the employee had contact with, but they don't expect that anyone will need to quarantine because of this. And we got that update from Public Health Director Kim Lionberger. Obviously the hospital has been being really careful, taking a lot of precautions and working really hard to keep employees and patients and everyone safe. So even though they had this one employee test positive, they're hoping that that won't have affected other people, and they're still working hard to make sure that there's no spread at the hospital. Looking forward to tomorrow, which is the 19th anniversary of 9/11. There are going to be a few different things going on with that. Today we learned there was an order to fly the flags at half-staff. So Governor Mark Gordon, pursuant to President Donald Trump's proclamation, has ordered for both the U.S. and state of Wyoming flags to be flown at half-staff all day tomorrow in honor of the anniversary of 9/11. Also, the City of Rock Springs Fire Department will be hosting a memorial ceremony along with other local first responders, and that will be at the Rotary Flagpole at the corner of Dewar and Gateway in Rock Springs, and that ceremony will be about half an hour long. It will begin at noon. And due to COVID-19 concerns, the fire department is asking the public to not attend in person, but you can watch the live stream of the ceremony, which will be on the City of Rock Springs Fire Department Facebook page. So definitely encourage everyone to tune in at noon and watch that memorial ceremony. To end, I wanted to note that today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and September is Suicide Prevention Month. This week is Suicide Prevention Week, and then today is specifically the day that is recognized. This is organized by the International Association for Suicide Prevention. And they note on their website, every year, suicide is among the top 20 leading causes of death globally for people of all ages. It is responsible for over 800,000 deaths, which equates to one suicide every 40 seconds. And obviously, even for every person who does commit suicide, there are countless others who have attempted suicide or contemplated suicide, had suicidal thoughts. So it affects so many people. And especially here in Wyoming, suicide has been a definite problem. We have higher rates of suicide than most of the rest of the country. In 2018, Wyoming had the second highest suicide rate in the United States. And the Wyoming Department of Health website estimates that on average, one person dies by suicide in Wyoming every 2 days. And I know that this year in particular, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of concern about suicide rates going up, particularly connected to the pandemic, to the effects on the economy, the effects of lockdowns and isolation, just all of these different things that we're seeing together. People are worried about people's mental health and about the possibilities of seeing more suicides as a result of all of this. I have sometimes heard people use this argument in a way that I don't quite agree with, because sometimes I've heard people say that because of the suicide rates and because of concerns about mental health, we shouldn't be having lockdowns, having public health orders, taking these precautions for COVID-19. I don't agree with that personally. I think that it's important to be concerned about COVID-19 and its effects, and it's important to take steps to prevent deaths from the virus. But that doesn't mean that I'm not concerned about the suicide rates. I am deeply concerned about the effects on people's mental health and about the possibility of increased suicides this year because of all of the things that everyone's going through. I think that sometimes people just use that argument as a way to make a point about their opinions about COVID-19, and that bothers me. But if you are someone who's been arguing about your concern about the suicide rates going up, I would just encourage you to use today as an opportunity to show that you do truly care, and use today and this month when other people are focused on spreading awareness and helping people who are suicidal, take the opportunity to get involved in that and find ways to show that you are truly concerned about people's lives when you talk about the suicide rates. I do think that this is important. It's important to have days like this to raise awareness and to specifically draw attention to issues like this that people are dealing with. And it's a good way to focus and to share resources and to reach out to people. So the Wyoming Department of Health has some really good information on their site about the suicide rates in Wyoming, good resources that people can use there. This month also, they're hosting the 2020 Wyoming Suicide Prevention Symposium, and that's happening via Zoom. So anybody can join for free and take part in those meetings. Those are every Friday this month from noon to 2 p.m. And you can join in there to learn more about suicide prevention efforts throughout Wyoming. And as I said, they have other good resources there that people can use. So I would just encourage everyone, today especially, and this year especially, but all of the time, to be checking on your friends, especially if you know that they struggle with mental health issues. But even if you don't know that, and you're just concerned that maybe they're struggling or not in a good mood, or they're stressed out recently, even if you're not sure how they're feeling, make sure that they are doing okay. Make sure that you know what their mood is like. And just show people that you're there for them and you're there to support them and to help them. And definitely with your friends, just be watching for warning signs that are there that people could be feeling suicidal. The Wyoming Department of Health, in their resources, they point out some of the warning signs for people feeling suicidal, which could be people talking about feeling like they're a burden to others, increased use of alcohol or drugs, feeling isolated and cut off or isolating themselves, sleeping either too much or too little, experiencing extreme moods and like depression and rage, anxiety. Just see people's moods, see what people are going through, be involved in people's lives so that you know how they're doing. And watch for those warning signs if they're struggling, and show that you're there to help them and support them. Also, take care of your own mental health. I know this year is hard on so many people, and a lot of people are feeling more stress and anxiety than they ever have. So do what you need to check where you're at and know how to respond for yourself. And then if you or someone you know is in immediate danger, if you're in an emergency situation where you think someone is suicidal, you can call 911. If you or someone else that you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts, you can call the U.S. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, or you can text WYO to 741-741 for their crisis text line. You can also chat online through the Wyoming Department of Health website. So there are a lot of resources there. There are people that you can reach out to when you're struggling, and no matter what you're struggling for, reach out and get the help that you need, because it's worth it. So I just want to encourage everyone today to take care of your own mental health, take care of your friends, and know that your life is valuable and we want you to stay here. It's important. So be aware of that and reach out and support each other all the time, not just today. So thank you for listening, and I hope everyone has a good night.